Hi guys, we're on week 4 of the Women of the Bible and You, a weekly devotional by Ariane Williams. This week we're talking about Naomi. It's called Glory and Grief. The Bible verse comes from Ruth 1, verses 20 and 21. She said to them, "Call me no longer Naomi, call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt bitterly for me. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi when the Lord has dealt harshly with me, and the Almighty has brought calamity upon me?" Nothing about Naomi's story is fair or easy. She lives through a famine, loses her husband and both her sons, has no grandchildren, uproots her life twice, and ends up back where she began. When we encounter her in this week's verses, newly returned to her hometown of Bethlehem, her grief is possibly at its most intense point. Forced to face her former community for the first time in years, she pours out her pain and embarrassment. "When I left, I had it all," she says. "Now I'm returning because I've lost everything." Moreover, she identifies God as the culprit, the one who has been harsh to her and is responsible for all her tragedies. The heaviness is so much that she even demands a name change from Naomi, which means pleasant, to Mara, which means bitter, as if to say, "I'm not the woman you once knew. My sorrow has overcome me, and this is who I am now." Have you known any Maras? People who just can't seem to catch a break? No matter what they do, it seems they're constantly encountering loss, grief, and disappointment. It can be hard to watch and uncomfortable to listen to them. You may want to offer comfort, but the words don't come. They're hurting, and they're not going to be talked out of it, nor should they. This is where Naomi gives her first lesson in grief. Be honest about it and allow those who are grieving to share how they really feel. Healing isn't our truth telling. There's something transformative about sharing our stories because it means someone is listening to them. But what is most powerful in this story is the fact that Naomi's friends listen to her without interrupting. They support her with their presence, but they don't try to fix her. Even if they wanted to, they couldn't, because ultimately, God is our fixer. God encounters us in the most painful places to comfort, heal, and relieve. No human can provide that in the same way. When we sit in silence as those who grieve share their experiences, we leave room for God to enter because we're not filling it up with our noise. Naomi also learns the value of allowing people to be helpful in the ways they can. It's so easy to isolate ourselves when the pain of grief wrecks our souls. Naomi does this when she orders her daughter-in-laws to return home, but Ruth is determined to stay with Naomi to support her. After colliding with Ruth's fierce determination, Naomi concedes, and it ultimately works out for her because later Ruth is able to work and secure some food and provisions for them. As a mother figure, maybe Naomi felt she should be the one worried about someone else's life, needs, and future, not the other way around. But she had to learn that being cared for by a loving family was something she needed. You don't do yourself any favors by pushing away help. Being strong is not required all the time, nor should it be celebrated in all circumstances. Embracing your perceived weakness is what connects you to the love of community and power of God. For God's grace is sufficient for you, and God's strength is made perfect in weakness.